Right now, as you're watching this video, a narrow strip of water only 21 miles wide is completely shut down. And because of this closure, your immigration case, your job, your visa stamping, your green card, and possibly even your ability to stay in the United States is in serious danger. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not clickbaiting you. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why a waterway thousands of miles away from America is about to change the life of every single immigrant living in this country. And if you have any kind of visa, green card, pending case with USCIS, or even if you are a naturalized citizen with family abroad, please do not skip this video. Watch it until the very end because what I'm about to explain to you is something that most immigration lawyers have not even fully connected yet. Before we start, I need to tell you something important. Everything I share in this video is based on publicly available government sources, verified news reports, and official policy documents. I always encourage you to verify information with a qualified immigration attorney before making any decisions about your specific case. Immigration law is complex and your individual situation matters. Now let's get into it. Let me start with a question. How many of you know what the Strait of Hormuz is? If I asked 100 immigrants in America right now, maybe 5 would know. But after today, you'll understand that this one location controls your financial future, your visa future, and possibly your family's future. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow channel between Iran and Oman. It connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman and then to the open ocean. Now, here's the critical fact. Nearly 20% of the entire world's oil supply passes through this strait every single day. That means 1 out of every 5 barrels of oil on this planet moves through this tiny choke point. On February 28, 2026, when the United States and Israel launched military operations against Iran, Iran responded by doing something they had threatened to do for decades, but never actually did. They closed the Strait of Hormuz. On March 2nd, an Iranian Revolutionary Guard commander made a public statement. He said, and I quote, "The strait is closed. If anyone tries to pass, the heroes of the IRGC Navy will respond." By March 5th, Iran announced they would keep the strait closed specifically to ships from the US, Israel, and their Western allies. As of today, April 2nd, 2026, the strait has been effectively closed for over 4 weeks. 40 countries just met today in London to discuss how to reopen it. The UK is leading a coalition. Arab countries are asking the United Nations to authorize force, and oil prices have surged over 50% since the war began. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is a geopolitics story. This is a war story. This is an oil story. What does this have to do with me as an immigrant? Everything. And I'm going to break it down into 5 direct impacts that are affecting you right now, today. Whether you realize it or not, impact number 1, your visa stamping is frozen or severely delayed. This is the most immediate and most devastating impact for people on work visas, especially H-1B holders. Here's what has happened. Because of the Iran war, the U.S. Department of State issued a worldwide security caution affecting embassies and consulates across the entire Middle East region. Let me read you the actual status as of early March 2026. Bahrain embassy closed until further notice. Iraq, all consular services suspended. Israel embassy closed nationwide. Kuwait consular services suspended. Lebanon level 4 do not travel warning. All services suspended. Qatar, routine visa appointments canceled temporarily. United Arab Emirates, some appointments postponed. Oman operations uncertain. Now think about what this means. If you are an H-1B holder who traveled to the Middle East for a family visit and you needed visa stamping to re-enter the United States, you are stuck. According to Business Standard, immigration attorneys are specifically warning that war-linked travel disruption may strand foreign workers, delay visa stamping, and create status risks for H-1B and L-1 visa holders. Bloomberg Law reported that strikes on Iran and neighboring countries have led to suspended visa services at nearly 24 American consulates and embassies in the region. And this is not just the Middle East. The ripple effect is real because consular staff are being reassigned because security protocols are elevated globally. Even visa processing in countries like India is experiencing delays. Times of India reported that immigration attorney Emily Newman specifically asked companies to reach out to their congressmen about H-1B visa stamping delays in India. If you are outside the United States right now on any kind of work visa and you need stamping, I need you to hear me clearly. Contact your immigration attorney immediately. Do not assume your appointment will happen on schedule. Have a backup plan. Impact number 2, gas prices have crossed $4 a gallon, and your cost of living is about to go through the roof. On March 31st, just 2 days ago, U.S. gas prices officially crossed $4 per gallon for the first time since 2022. According to CNBC, prices have surged more than 30% since the military operations against Iran began. Reuters reported that this is directly linked to the Strait of Hormuz's closure, which has disrupted the global energy supply chain. Now, why does this matter to you as an immigrant? It matters in 3 very specific ways. First, higher gas prices mean higher prices on everything. Your groceries, your rent, your utility bills, your commute to work. Everything gets more expensive. The American Progress Organization published a detailed analysis showing that the war in Iran will cost Americans more at the pump, as well as on their utility and grocery bills. For an immigrant family that is already sending remittances back home, already paying immigration attorney fees, already paying USCIS filing fees, this additional cost pressure is crushing. Second, and this is the part most people are not talking about, the public charge rule. Under the Trump administration's dramatically expanded public charge rules, if you apply for a green card or an immigration benefit, USCIS looks at whether you are likely to become dependent on government assistance. If the cost of living surges because of this war and your income doesn't keep up, your financial profile looks weaker on paper. I am not saying this will automatically affect your case, but I am saying that in the current enforcement environment where USCIS is scrutinizing financial self-sufficiency more than ever, a weakened financial position can raise red flags. Consult your attorney about documenting your financial stability carefully. Third, the public charge concern also applies to sponsor obligations. If you are sponsoring a family member for immigration, the I-864 Affidavit of Support requires you to demonstrate income above a certain threshold. If your expenses are rising but your income is flat or declining, that sponsorship becomes harder to prove. Impact number 3, the job market is freezing and H-1B holders are in the danger zone. This is where I need every H-1B holder, every L-1 holder, every OPT student to pay very close attention. CNN reported on March 29th that America's frozen jobs market could stay on ice due to the Iran war. CBS News reported just yesterday that the Iran war is adding fresh pressure to a slowing U.S. labor market, with at least one major employer already freezing hiring plans. CNBC reported that economists are warning the Iran war would freeze the labor market even further due to additional uncertainty for employers. The U.S. lost 92,000 jobs in February 2026 alone. The unemployment rate is 4.4% and rising. Economists estimate that even adjusting for population changes, 50,000 new jobs are needed just to stay flat, and we are not creating them. Now, connect this to immigration. If you are on an H-1B visa and your company decides to lay you off because of economic uncertainty caused by this war, you have a 60-day grace period. That's it. 60 days to find a new employer willing to sponsor you, file a transfer, and keep your status alive. And here is the frightening part. That 60-day grace period is not even guaranteed. USCIS decides whether to grant it, and your actual deadline may be your I-94 expiration date if it comes sooner. There are active discussions in 2026 about whether this grace period might even be revoked. If you are laid off today, your clock is ticking. The immigration system does not care that a war caused your job loss. The rules are the same. So, what should you do? I have 3 recommendations for anyone on an employer-sponsored visa. 1. Make sure your employer has filed a proper termination notice with USCIS if you are let go. 2. Immediately begin looking for a new sponsor and explore H-1B transfer options. 3. Consult an immigration attorney about whether filing for a change of status to B2 makes sense as a bridge while you job search. These are options that exist under current law, but you need to act quickly. Impact number 4. ICE enforcement is at its highest level ever, and the war is making it worse. Let me give you the numbers. According to the White House's own website, the Trump administration has deported more than 605,000 individuals with an additional 2.2 million who have voluntarily self-reported. ICE arrests nationwide have topped 1,100 per day on average in 2026, according to New York Times data. That is nearly double the rate from just 1 year ago. The DHS has increased the self-deportation stipend to $2,600 per person. Over 72,000 people have used the Project Homecoming voluntary departure program. Now, what does the Iran war have to do with enforcement? Two things. First, during wartime, national security arguments become stronger. The political environment shifts toward more aggressive enforcement across the board. The government's argument that border security and immigration enforcement are tied to national security becomes much easier to make when there is an actual active military conflict. Second, and this is very important, the DHS shutdown that has been going on for over 6 weeks is a direct consequence of political fights partly driven by immigration enforcement funding. The Senate passed a DHS funding bill, but the House has refused to vote on it. This means TSA officers are working without pay. USCIS operations could slow down further. Immigration court hearings could be delayed or rescheduled. So you have a situation where enforcement is aggressive, but the administrative system that processes your legal case is underfunded and understaffed. That is the worst combination for any immigrant with a pending case. Impact number 5. The 75-country travel ban is compounding all of these problems. Before the Iran war even started, the Trump administration had already suspended immigrant visa processing from 75 countries effective January 21, 2026. This affected nationals from countries across Africa, Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America who were deemed likely to need public assistance. Now layer the Iran war on top of that. You already had 75 countries with frozen immigrant visa processing. Now you have an additional dozen or more consulates in the Middle East region that are closed or operating at reduced capacity because of military operations. The result is a compound crisis, the largest disruption to U.S. visa processing in modern history. If you are from one of those 75 countries, and you also had a consular appointment in a Middle East location, your case is doubly frozen. There's currently a lawsuit challenging the 75-country ban, but as of today, it remains in effect. Now, I want to talk about something that is not being discussed anywhere, the hidden sixth impact that nobody is covering, the psychological impact. I know this might sound like it doesn't belong in an immigration news video, but as someone who covers this topic every day, I need to say this. The combination of an active war, rising prices, frozen visas, aggressive enforcement, and economic uncertainty is creating an unprecedented level of stress and anxiety in the immigrant community. People are afraid to travel. People are afraid to go to their USCIS interviews. People are afraid to apply for benefits they are legally entitled to. People are afraid to go to the doctor because of public charge concerns. This fear is real and it is valid. But I want to tell you something very important. Fear without information leads to bad decisions. Fear with accurate information leads to preparation. That is why this video exists. That is why this channel exists. I want you to be informed, not scared into paralysis. So, let me end with the 5 things you should do right now. These are practical, actionable steps that apply to most immigrants in America today. But please consult with the immigration attorney about your specific situation because every case is different. Step 1. Do not travel internationally right now unless it is absolutely necessary. If you're on a work visa, a student visa, or any non-immigrant status, leaving the U.S. right now is a risk. Consular delays, appointment cancellations, and re-entry complications are real possibilities. Step 2. Build your financial documentation. Gather your pay-ups, tax returns, bank statements, and employment verification letters. In this environment, being able to prove financial stability is more important than ever for any immigration application. Step 3. If you are on an H-1B visa, have a layoff contingency plan. Know your options before you need them. Identify potential alternative employers. Understand the 60-day grace period rules. Have an immigration attorney's number saved in your phone. Step 4. Stay informed, but be careful about misinformation. Follow verified sources. Check government websites directly. Do not make life-changing decisions based on a WhatsApp forward or a social media rumor. This channel is committed to bringing you verified sourced information, and I will always tell you where I'm getting my facts from. Step 5. If you have a pending USCIS case, check your case status regularly. The DHS shutdown and war-related disruptions may cause delays. If your biometrics appointment or interview gets rescheduled, respond promptly. Do not let a missed notice derail your case. The Strait of Hormuz is 21 mi wide and 7,000 mi away from America. But in 2026, it is directly connected to your gas bill, your job security, your visa status, and your family's future in this country. The world is more connected than we think. An immigration policy does not exist in a vacuum. This is Global Immigration Updates. If this video helped you understand something you didn't before, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Subscribe to this channel because I cover stories like this every single day. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. And remember, in times of crisis, the most powerful thing you can do is stay informed and stay prepared. I will see you in the next